Great. Okay. We are live. So thank you everybody for joining today's LF Decentralized Trust meetup. We have a discussion today about the Web3j project. We have Shashank Kumar, who will be speaking about enhancing Android support with updated Web3j Android integration. So with that, Shashank, please take it away.
Yeah. Hello everyone. So my name is Shashank Kumar. I'm from IIT BHU, an engineering institution here at Varanasi, India. And I was selected mentee and graduated mentee for the project enhancing Android support with updated Web3j Android integration for the project Web3j. Like, and I completed the project in December, and now I'd like to showcase what we have done till now and what are we planning to do in next. So, first of all, Web3j is highly modular, reactive, type safe Java and Android library for working with smart contracts and integrating clients on the Ethereum network. And the main focus has been for some time is the Web3j Java library. And the main goals of the project was to enhance the Android support of Web3j and to restructure the Web3j Android library and also address the dependencies, find out what are the current issues with the latest Android SDKs. So goals included testing it and creating test APKs for the Web3j Android library and also conducting sort surveys to find out what developers needed for the Android compatibility and what we could improve and why this update was necessary, like the update for the Android library. So first of all, for some time in Web3j, the focus has been on the Java library. So the Android library was on the version 4.8.8, while the Java library was on the version 4.12.3 already. So the Android library was not maintained for a long time, and so we needed to update it to like resolve a lot of compatibility issues. Also, we are planning to add other latest blockchain capabilities to the Android library so that it can be used in the for in the new Android dApps. And also many dependencies for Android was outdated and which was causing compatibility issues and especially with the modern SDKs, SDK 34s. And so the main thing that we did in this project, which I'll throughout this call, I'll explain in detail, was that first we converted the Android library into a standalone Android library. So Web3's library was a Java library for the 4.11, 13 version, which was the most updated version, was a Java library, and there was no standalone Android library for it. So what I mean by that is that it was a Java library that was supported in the Android ecosystem, but not completely. There wasn't a Android library structure for Web3j Android. Also, since it was on the version 4.8.8, we had to update it to the 4.12.3 latest version, and uh, we had to create a new release. So Java library is released separately from the Android library now. Also, this overall all of these changes led to improving the Android capability and in general compatibility and the performance of the library. So the first phase of the project was to analyze the existing library that we had Web3 Java library in the Android projects, creating sample Android projects and finding out what are the key issues right now. So we found two major key issues while integrating the library into Android projects. One of them was with the latest SDKs, there was a Java version compatibility issue. So we had to update the project configuration to use Java 17 to solve this. Another minor issue that every project that integrated Web3j was getting was uh, the packaging error that you can see. And it's common with the latest Android projects and which uh, integrates older libraries. Uh, so someone is asking about the resources for this. Uh, so we'll be including the slides after the call as well. And after the this we'll have a Q&A as well to discuss the resources. So yeah. So yeah, the second issue was the packaging area. You can see the solution. So we found out that for every latest Android project that is integrating the Java version of the library had to add the and especially include that these resource files that you can see here. So this was the first part, the testing part. We didn't found any other major issues with the compatibility that time. And then comes the main key part of the project, that was the conversion of the Web3j Java to a standalone Android library. So first of all, uh, conversion from Java library to an Android library wasn't just like some couple of minor fixes, because uh, if you have a Java library, we can create the directories and structure in any way. Basically, it's much more flexible than an Android library project, because Android has specific conventions for how its library structure should be. So for each module, we had to restructure the library, restructure the directories to match those conventions. Like for example, in Android library projects, for each module, we need to have the manifest file, and we need to have a Java and resources file, and in that we can create main and sources, which is a little bit different than a Java library project. So we had to restructure the whole library for Android compatibility. And then then we also found out another issue, that was cross module dependencies. So in our Java version of the library, we were importing some of files from other modules test folders. So for example, CodeGen module was relying on some of the files, uh, like CodeGen modules test folders were relying on some of the core modules test folders directly, right? So this kind of import works on Java, but apparently this wasn't working in Android. So for Android structure, it wasn't possible to just import a file from test folder of a module to another test folder of another module. So to resolve that, we had to kind of uh, create a separate and unique a directory where we put all of those test files that was shared between a lot of modules. We called it Android test utils. And now you can see one example. So code generation is the CodeGen module. So now CodeGen module can access those test files from these test utils instead of from test files of test folder of another module. So we kind of had to fix this for a lot of modules. Then another issue was in Android ecosystem, Java X imports or Java X, it's not supported. Uh, most of the parts of Java X is not supported in Android ecosystem. So for everywhere we were using Java X, we had to find some kind of alternatives. So this was a challenging part, and we had to do it for a lot of modules. And the fourth part was to replace the Java Poet to Kotlin Poet. Again, this was because of Java X imports, and we had to kind of find a lot of alternatives, and we also had to convert like replace Java Poet with Kotlin Poet. And like so this Java Poet to Kotlin Poet conversion was mainly a key issue in the CodeGen module. So CodeGen module is the module in Web3j which actually uh like generates which performs the task of generating the uh Java wrappers from Solidity files. So this is a very key module in the Web3j, because it does a very key functionality of the Web3j library, which is the generation of uh, Java wrappers from Solidity files. So we could not leave this module, but there were a lot of issues in CodeGen, or I would say challenges in conversion of CodeGen module from a Java module to a like Android library module. And one of them was, as we discussed above, was the conversion of like Java Poet to Kotlin Poet, and the further errors that it led to. And we found out that for a lot of functions or functionalities, there were no direct alternatives uh, to Java X. So we had to completely rewrite those functions, and it started piling up. So for some time, we realized that we had to rewrite whole CodeGen module with alternatives to and Android. So for right, but since we had to release the Android library till then, uh, so we have found an interim solution, which is currently right now working. Is that we created a Java utils module, and we moved all the Java wrapper generation logic from CodeGen to this, and we only uh, converted the part of the module, which we could with the minimum possible changes in like Java X or the uh, co- conversion from Java Poet to Kotlin Poet. And so this is what we are going to work in the future right now, is that we are going to completely convert the CodeGen module to from a Java module to a Android library module. And for that, we have to rewrite the complete CodeGen module code so that it is compatible with Android library. And so what we are doing right now, the interim solution I'll explain, is that we are creating a Java utils module. Since we haven't completely converted the CodeGen module to Android library module, what we are doing is in Java utils module, we are using the Web3j Gradle plugin for wrapper generation. And that's how we are generating the wrappers instead of like generating it in the CodeGen module. So this is a workaround solution right now, but eventually in like in future we are going to completely convert the CodeGen module to an Android module. So yeah, and we also integrated the integration test module for validation that this is working right now. So this was mainly the uh, task, like everything that we did in the project. And our main focus right now is testing of the modules. So we have already done extensive testing for the other modules, but since we are working on a workaround solution for CodeGen module, so we are going to do further testing for CodeGen module where when we are done with the conversion. This also includes improving the documentation and developer specifically for like Android library. So since it is quite outdated, we have already updated some of the key parts of the documentation for Android library. We have also added a separate section for Android in the documentation. And overall, our goal is to like increase the library adoption for in the Web3 ecosystem for the Android library part. Um, Talking about my personal learnings through the mentorship. So since in some parts of the project, like uh, conversion of the CodeGen module or the shared module issue that I just discussed, we had to go through a lot of issues. We had to do a lot of debugging, and in which my mentors actually helped me a lot. So this was something that I learned during project, extensive debugging and issue resolution uh, that I had to do to find some solution for those projects. But yeah, uh, I'm getting a question from YouTube. So, okay, will Kotlin be used for app development instead of Java for Web3j? This is something that we are working on right now. Right now, we are using Java, but yes, in future we are going to be using Kotlin because the when we are going to rewrite the CodeGen module, we are going to in rewrite in Kotlin so that the new generation logic like from new Java wrapper generation logic is also in Kotlin. So like previously it was Java Solidity to Java. Now it will be Solidity to Kotlin. So that would be yes. And yeah. So yeah, YouTube link is shared also. Apart from that, we had to like manage a lot of dependencies that like there were a lot of dependencies that was not compatible with the Android, so we had to find some alternatives or write our own version of it. Like for example, in Java version of the library, we were using Spotless, and in the Android library, it was not supported. So for code formatting, we had to use something else. So that is something that I learned through the project to extensively, manage complex dependencies. Apart from this, the publishing and release process of the our library of this much impact and this of this size was a challenge in itself, and we had to like separately write a new publishing format, publishing logic for this, and we had to create a different workflow for Android library, which is separate from the Java library. So that was also a key part of the project of the mentorship, actually. Sorry, and in general, I learned a lot about project management and like best practices of developing a library. And so that those are some key things that I learned during the project. And actually, I'm planning to still work on the project and work on some key tasks. So yeah, I'm still learning. And you can find out my current merge pull request. And so the we have created a new branch for the new Android library, and it is published separately. It's named Android branch. You can also read my like mentorship spotlight blog. So yeah, so I'll be taking questions now. Yeah, you can unmute yourself to ask questions, or you can ask in the chat.
Yeah, see, there's a question about a link to the repositories. I can drop that. Are there any other questions? Shashank, if you're talking, you're muted. I'm not sure if you were sharing anything.
Oh, sorry. Uh, no, I was just sharing the repository, but yeah, already there. So if you have any question regarding kind of work that we did, or what are our future goals, or is there is any uh confusion in like the current branch, or where we are currently in the project. Yeah.
I don't see any other questions on YouTube. Any other questions here from anyone? Okay, well, thanks everyone for joining. I will send an email around with the resources that we covered, and if you want to get involved with Web3j or ask questions in the future after this event, feel free to join the Web3j channels on our Discord server. Again, I'll send that link to the Discord server in the email, and thanks everyone for joining. And thanks, Shashank,
Yeah.
for presenting.
Thanks everyone. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks everyone for attending. Yeah. Thank you. Bye.